What is up, guys? It is Kat and Kerri.
Kerri&Kat.
And today's conversation topic is why can't women support each other? What are the barriers to women being supportive to one another?
Yeah, what prevents us from being supportive?
What prevents us from being supportive? And looking it up, there was a ton of things, and just thinking in my mind, there was a ton of things, but it all boiled down to really jealousy, envy, which turned into self-esteem issues.
For me, I can only speak from personal experience because I do think that I am supportive of people in general. I am supportive of women. I am pro-woman, but I am not anti-male.
Right.
Why am I defending men again? Okay, right. So, but I mean, my personal experiences, a lot of times, what I have noticed in interacting with women, sometimes a lot of times is it's more like you said, it's jealousy. A lot of women see each other as competition when when that's not really even necessary.
Right. And so I'll try to figure out, okay, so how do we address this issue? Because I find it, like, even in building this channel, I find it really important that we create a space where people can support each other. And it's a lot of examples of women not being able to support each other, and not even seeing the problem. Like, earlier this week, I was looking at a YouTube video, and a lady was like that people from YouTube, the black women on YouTube that watch her channel, call DFS on her. DCF is a different, because DFS is here, but DCF, whatever. But the point is,
Child and Family Services.
Yeah. The point was, like, and so she posed the question, like, not only was it people that looked like her, it was women, you know what I'm saying, women and mothers like she was, you know what I'm saying. And so I did do a check and go back through her videos to see, okay, so where would they get this from? Now, she might have deleted something, but I never saw her do or say anything to the children that would cause there to be a need for intervention. So go ahead.
But I was going to say that could be, some people are miserable within themselves anyway.
Right.
So that would, perfect example. I'm one of those people, when I talk, I speak from experience.
Right.
When we used to be on the conference, you could anger somebody with just your words, and they would want to personally attack you.
Right.
And that didn't necessarily stem from, like, envy, but people hated me because I was able to get along with everybody. But what was my point? Oh, like, they would have your lights turned off, all because you hurt a bruised ego.
Right.
You'd have hurt my feelings. You'd have made me mad.
Right.
Or whatever. So that could be, basically, bragging rights.
Right.
For people to have called DFS on her.
Right.
Oh, because people's mindsets now, they are so warped, and COVID didn't help.
Yeah, right. Y'all was in the house too long. And here's the thing about women, like, we are emotional creatures. And there have been times, not on my girl days, not when the visitor is coming, that you have said something to me and it triggered something in me. And because I'm not a people person. So I have to keep myself in check because I'm the only one with me most of the time. So when I notice it, I'm to the place where if I notice it, I try to reel it in because I know that I'm emotional, and so I have to talk to myself. But a lot of women, and that doesn't work all the time. But a lot of women, and a lot of the time, you can say something really small and you think it be insignificant, and it matters, and it triggers something in them to cause a reaction to where now we're in a position where we're at each other's throat. or we're in a position where there's conflict or confrontation, and you don't even know what did that. And so women interaction with women should come from a place of, I think, should come from a place of more sensitivity, because we know who we are and we know what we how we feel and how our emotions work. So my question is, why can't we come from that place? Why can't we?
It's a personal choice.
Right.
People simply don't want to, or whatever. It could be. It could be ego. I'm not letting this go. This such and such did that, or whatever. It could be something minute. People just on a whole.
Right. Like all of them.
Not everybody, because there are some that are overly giving, but for the most part, we are selfish. And in 2020, narcissism is at an all-time high.
Now, might I add, I'm just gonna throw this out there. The Bible did say. The Bible did say that people will be lovers of themselves, and that's and that's just one of the things that is currently happening that the Bible did say. But I'm not a pastor preacher, so I'm not gonna go on that. But I did want to talk about some things that women do to tear each other down. Like, they talk about each other's bodies.
You can't shame me. I know I'm fat. I woke up with this body.
And then, you know what? Where she would say she's fat, I would say, time to time, I've been saying a lot of times this month that I'm way too skinny. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure people have been like, and
that's an esteem thing, though. You have to be comfortable within yourself,
right?
And I can't be nobody else.
Right,
I'm
right.
the best me I can be.
Right, and though I say to myself that I'm too skinny, my thought in my mind is, okay, well, Kerri, just gain some weight. You know how to do that. I eat enough.
I can give it to you.
But when I go to work or in some places, there are a lot of jokes like, "Ooh, you ain't got no booty," or "You real skinny." You know what I'm saying? She does it all the time. Just comment on, you know what I'm saying, how skinny I am, which does make me think, oh, I am a little skinny, but
who, me?
It's not. Yeah.
No, that's because you call yourself fat.
I have called myself fat before, but then when listen, we stand.
She ain't finna try to switch this up and say I'm not a supportive friend.
I definitely would not say that Kat was not supportive. No lie, Kat. Like through this. Listen, we'll go, but definitely supportive friend. That's without question. So, and I don't take offense when she says it. It's just, okay.
Because I'm not coming from a malicious place. If you know me, you know when I'm joking.
Right. So let me say this. It depends on where my mindset is when people say it. And that's another thing that I'm constantly saying. People say stuff out their mouth, but it's also, let me see. It also depends on where that particular person is that it creates that conflict or that confrontation or that feeling or those feelings when you come to work. So, or when you're in the situation, it's not just what one person does; it's the two of them. One person does something and the other person responds to that something. So when you talk about other people's bodies, hating on each other's success, like if somebody is promoted and y'all started together, you feeling some kind of way because somebody is promoted or over you, or somebody gets something that you wanted or don't have. Sometimes we don't take in account what they had to do to get there, or what their contributions were to that success.
All I'm gonna say is what God has for me is for me.
Right, and a lot of times people fail to. Well, I can't speak for if you're not a Christian. Your hope is in your
bad for yourself.
Right. I don't know what to tell you because I'm a firm believer that, what I'm saying, it's different for Christians because we have a manual that lets us know how to handle those things and what to believe. So I just don't know to each his own.
Why you use that voice?
Because I'm just... Why we... Okay. I'm just gonna edit real good here. It say The next thing is like trying to make each other feel bad about our sexual history or experiences. And I would tell the story, but I'm not. But I recently dealt with that, and it wasn't even about me. It was about somebody else, and you know, and they didn't even say it to the person. They said it about the person around the way, around the corner, and I got in my feelings all the way. Like I was in all of my. She wasn't even talking about me, and in fact, she wasn't even talking to me. And I will acknowledge that the lady wasn't talking about me, nor was she talking to me, but I heard her, and it just whoosh. I went to a whole nother place, and it took me days. It took me. I was plotting on this lady for days. I was gonna tell
But
her.
isn't that doesn't that kind of coincide with what we were talking about? Is she melanated?
Yeah, she's melanated,
So
but she spoke about another melanated woman.
okay, so she was turning another woman down, but you felt the need to plot against her.
Right. But let me tell you how it went. Let me tell you about God. Let me tell you about having God in your life. She was speaking about somebody else, and she was speaking about somebody else. Wasn't even talking to me. Got in my feelings, past my eyebrows, and I was planning, baby. I was planning to tell. I was planning to bring it up in a meeting. I was listen. I have no words. And here's the thing: if you know God, He tells you not to meditate on things. I meditated on how I was going to address this issue because it was just so horrible to me. Then I had already picked the topic, which was, you know, women coming against women. And the whole time I seen it, or she did it, I was thinking of how she was coming against somebody else. It never crossed my mind how I was,
you were doing it
right. That I would never crossed my mind until I was putting the thing together, and I'm gonna say the Lord had to speak to my heart and was like, "That's not right," because not only are you defeat who I am, or who God is supposed to be in me, you're also now embarrassing the lady that you're supposed to be defending. Your intent to defend her, all of this you got going around in your head, is going to do nothing but make it worse for her. I'm gonna tell you. So I fall in this category. So let me tell you. So then now I'm mad because God said I was wrong. I was mad because God, He told me that Sunday morning. I'm mad because God said you wrong. So when I goes to work to correct my wrong, you know, I could have let it go, shut up, bloop, bloop, bloop. All that. Didn't. Went to work, found the nearest supervisor who was friends with the girl who said it. So I know this is how mad I am. I don't even care. I goes to find her.
St. Louis came out of
Girl. I don't even care. I goes to find a supervisor who I know is friends with her, blurts it out in the entire office. We gonna call it out. We in the entire office. It was at least 6 people in the office. So it went from 3 people knowing what was said to now 9 people know what was said. Then I added an extra 10th person because when I went in the office and repeated it, it was a whole nother person that wasn't in the main area when I said it. By the time I walked out the office and walked down the hall, God was like, "Oh, so you don't see what you just did?" And I was like, "No." I for some reason I ended up out on the plaza. I don't know why I ended up out on the plaza, but I walked out on the plaza. By the time I got from the door to the middle of the plaza, I felt God's presence like, boo boo, that wasn't it. And this is something I did. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm at work stuck. But this is because I'm a child of God. So I have to accept the correction. So now I'm at work having to keep my mouth shut, being tested. Like these people are testing now because I opened the door that God had already told me not to open. So I opened this door to challenge this thing that wasn't even mine. I just didn't handle. Let's just say I just didn't handle this thing correctly at all. So God had to deal with me, and in that I started to realize how we come against each other as women. Because my intent was good, And what does it say?
The road to hell is
paved with good intentions. My intent was straight good. Like in my mind, I was defending this lady, and then now this lady is going off doing something else. God had already had a plan for her. So now you didn't got yourself in a hole, but not now, and now it's a mess. And here's what I have to say about this mess. When we get our feelings involved in things, as Christians we should be prayerful, but just as people we should be mindful. Like if I can't tell you to be prayerful, because if you don't believe in God, I really don't know what your source is, but
whatever higher deity,
right? You go up. But what I will say is we do have to be mindful. You know what I'm saying? We're capable. Just because you're capable of doing something don't mean
you should do it.
Right. And so we have to be mindful of how we approach situations, and like I said, my intent was good, but it wasn't right still. So as women, when we're having these conversations and we're coming against these people, we have to fully think. When we're coming against each other, we have to fully think of how because how would you want somebody to speak to you? How would you want somebody to address you? How would you want somebody to handle a problem that they're having with you? And so think about that before. And I don't want to be preachy, because that's not what the point of this this podcast is. It's not to be preachy, you know what I'm saying? But my thought on it is, in order for us to be effective as a podcast, in order for us to be effective as women, in order for us to be effective out there in the world, we have to learn how to work together. And it starts with us. It starts with recognizing the things in us that cause the problem, the things that trigger us, because
we all get triggered,
right?
But for the most part, like what you were to piggyback off of, you were like how we talk to people. Initially, when I meet any and everybody, unless I get a bad vibe from you, and then I don't say anything.
Right.
But I always approach people initially very respectfully, because I would want that in return.
Right.
There have been times in which I come to people, I'm kind of playful, because my read from you, I feel that that's okay.
Right.
But it's never in a disrespectful manner.
Right.
Now, if I get something from you, some energy from you that don't sit right with me, right, for the most part, I don't say nothing. Right. There are a lot of people who know that I don't particularly care for them.
Right.
Because I don't engage in conversation, I don't talk, I don't interact with. Right. Because that energy is just not right for me. Right. But, overall, I don't. There have been females where one of the supervisors that we had,
right,
I couldn't. Everybody knew I couldn't stand her. But that's because she was an incompetent person. She had a position that she should not have had, but she was a whiny person. So the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That it was kind of that type of thing. She was always, I want to have my way, and I'm more go along to get along. I don't care as long as what you're doing isn't affecting me, because I'm not going out of my way to affect you. Right. But she was one of those people that was unhappy in her spirit, and I used to everybody know she miserable. It is what it is, and she would like to project her misery onto other people. I don't get down like that. I don't care. I don't put enough stock in people that don't feed me, right, or finance me. Right. You don't have any control here. You don't live rent free in my head. Right. And I think a lot of women just can't get with that. Right. Just, what I'm saying, rather than ignoring a person, they would rather retaliate against the person. Right. I don't have that energy.
And I am opposite of that, because I do. Like, I will. But here's the thing that she stated that works, that I need to work on. is that she can let people, she can isolate just a few people because she's such a people person. I'm not that much of a people person, so it's very few people in my world. So everybody that's not in my world is an enemy. Everybody that's not in my world, I don't know you enough. So if you say the wrong thing to me, I'm triggered.
You know Did you say is an enemy?
Right.
Oh,
right.
That's deep.
Right, and it's I don't know. I don't know where it's not. I shouldn't say enemy like that. That is kind of a strong word, but I have like these. I recognize that I have like these barriers up, and if you don't fit a certain criteria, then we're not.
I think we all have barriers up because, like I said, anybody that has ever been around me in my presence, I'm always the laughing, joking. I'm not gonna say the life of the party, but I do keep it going. I'm half of team too much. And with that said, if somebody comes around and I'm not really feeling that person, you don't get nothing out of me.
Right.
Remember, we used to be at work, and there was somebody that liked me, couldn't stand them, and it was because of the vibe that I got from that person. It was just something was off about that person, and not off. It was not a creepy vibe, but it was something wasn't right.
Right.
And we all have that. You know what I'm saying? And I listen to mine. I follow mine.
I found mine was in overdrive. And mine it just do too much. It just
and with old boy, when he would come around, it drove me up a wall. And this person liked to be next to me, which really pissed me off. But rather than cuss this person out or whatever, I let him live. I let him live. I would remove myself.
Right.
Just like with the female, I would rather, okay, say whatever.
Right.
And then handle things the way that was most effective and efficient to get my job done or whatever, what else? And I've had situations in which were females that meet me on their own accord love me. If you meet me through your guy, you hate my guts. And I, for the life of me, don't understand why. Because I've always been the homegirl. I get along with everybody. If you're in a relationship with one of my male friends, I'm rooting for you.
Right.
I've always been that person. I'm big sis to a lot of people and not the big sis type, if that makes any kind of sense. But females that meet me through their men usually can't stand me. And I don't do anything. I don't pose a threat to nobody's relationship.
Right.
Because I don't want to be number two.
Right. Nobody wants that. Well, I can't say nobody.
Some people are comfortable playing that position, but I don't want that karma to come back and bite me in the ass.
Right.
Or whatever. And like I said, females, if you either love me, but again, like I said, if you meet me on your own accord, they love me. I'm funny, I'm fun, I can make friends. I've never met a stranger.
Right.
I get along with just about everybody. If a female has an issue with me, that's an issue that she has within herself.
Right. And that's key because, like I said, we have issues within ourselves that we are putting on other people. Yeah. And I have that. I have issues within myself that I am putting on other people. Now, have I took the time to pinpoint where exactly these issues is coming from and why exactly this is a thing? No.
When we go upstairs, I'll just have you sit on the couch and I'll talk to you.
But
I ain't even gonna charge that much.
Right, but it does happen. So I have to, I say that because what triggered that? What triggered the story? What triggered that? That had to be something that I was feeling inside that brought all of that out. So and I think every woman needs to probably at the beginning of correcting this confrontation that they say that women have against each other. The beginning of that, beginning of investigating that, the beginning of resolving that would be to for each woman to investigate themselves. What in me causes this? Or before I get into a situation, I have learned, I have slowed down to the place where that particular incident I didn't, but most of the time I slow down. If given time enough, I'll slow down and investigate inside of me. Okay, what's going on? Like,
sit back and process it.
Right? Yeah. So like, most of the time it happens around girl days. So if it's girl days, then I'll be like, okay, you feeling some kind of way?
You ain't finna blame that on
because
you ain't finna blame on Flo. No.
Because sometimes it is on Flo. Sometimes it is.
Been that person.
I have.
Oh my God, I've never. When I tell you, I have never been that person. I don't get cranky or crabby or bitchy when it's about to be that time of the month.
I definitely do. Like I can look you in your face and tell you, definitely does.
I mean, we all have our moods where we are. I'm not peopling today, but it ain't never been surrounded by a cycle.
Right, mine's
It's never been that. You are the first person. Well, no, I ain't gonna say first. You're the first person I know to admit it. But I've never been that person. I've always been that just unable to establish something.
Because it keep on popping up, and I'll be like, "What is this?" If my video is not recording, I'm gonna be so upset. But I can cut this part. But anyway,
still showing.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, 26 minutes. We passed our time, but luckily we gonna edit this down to.
You gonna edit this down?
I'm gonna edit this down and mix it with another one that was 12 minutes. Cuss you back. But yeah, let me say this. Let me say, when it comes to combating the situation, this is how we do it. We make sure that we investigate ourselves. We communicate. We have effective communication with women so that or whatever with the people that we're having problems with, so that we can come against this problem, so we can squash the issue, you know what I'm saying, and be respectful, you know what I'm saying.
It don't cost you a thing to be nice to anybody.
Right.
It don't cost a thing, and not just that, but like what you were saying as far as like effective communication. You got two ears and one mouth. So that means listen more than you speak.
Right.
Process what you're going to say, and like do a self-check on how that is going to come out and how it could possibly be received.
Right.
We are all human.
Right.
It doesn't hurt. Like if somebody says something and tells you how they felt about whatever was said, right. It's like don't dismiss what they say,
right?
Especially about how they're feeling,
right?
Because you can never tell anybody
how to feel,
and you can never invalidate their feelings and tell them that their feelings are wrong,
right?
Just like if we're talking, for example, and you misinterpret what I say, and then you communicate back to me what you heard,
right?
And then I sit, I listen, and then I try to convey the thought in a more, in a form in which I feel that you would understand better.
Right.
It's like it don't hurt. It don't hurt.
Right.
To learn how to communicate, and that's not just with women. That's with people across the board.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, in your everyday life, your family, your friends,
right.
People you encounter. On the street.
Right. Listen, and then, but here's a very important thing. Now, on the street, you got to do it off the flip. But here's a very important thing. Be ready to have that conversation. Like, sit back, like we said, and think. And if you can't have that conversation that day or that hour, you know what I'm saying, something like that, wait until you can have that conversation. And if it takes you a week to have the conversation, then it might not have been all that important. Just saying, might not, but if it is, just make sure that when you have the conversation, you're in a position to listen and you're in a position to communicate. Because I have to learn, I can't address issues immediately like that. Some things I have to wait and get my words together, because I realize it takes two people to communicate, and I can't lock out that other person by my approach. So if I want to be effective, the word of the day and the word of the podcast is effective. If I want to be effective, then I make sure that I do what's required before I go to that person. So those are just a few tips, tricks, and experiences that we've had when it comes to uh
being supportive. Well, no, was that the topic?
It was being supportive, but just being in competition and addressing women, something like that. Something.
How you gonna say something like that?
Because
this is the purpose of the podcast.
Because I'm going to edit the hell out of this.
Clearly.
So thanks for watching.
All right, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to be part of the conversation, don't forget to comment, and as well as join us on Facebook. The link will be in the description.
Yep.
Switches.
Bye-bye.